What's going on, everybody? This is Kenny Cummings here at Triple Threat Wrestling Radio for the last interview of the year. And joining me at this time is a wrestler out of Georgetown, Kentucky. He is one of the top stars of primetime wrestling. You can catch him on primetime wrestling events, and you can catch him this coming Sunday, part of the Jim Chadwick Memorial Show. I'm joined with Mr. Everything, Max Sledd. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, just enjoying the night. I'm glad that you had me on. We got the Jim Chadwick show coming up, and it's a big honor for all us guys because of how much Jim meant, not just to the business, but to each and every one of us.
Absolutely, and I known Chad for the last few years of his career and his life, and he's a good guy, very passionate about wrestling in general, and it's sad that he left us a few years ago. He's no longer with us, but his legacy still lives on, and it's good to see people like companies such as Primetime Wrestling keeping his name alive, keeping his legacy alive as well, which is people are very excited for the Jim Chadwick Memorial Show. So Max, do you have any favorite memories, favorite moments working with Jim Chadwick?
Man, I've got so many with Jim Chadwick. Jim Chadwick was the guy that when you'd be in the locker room and you're looking for anything, you could ask for chain, handcuffs, brass knuckles. You could be looking for a blow-up doll. And Jim Chadwick was the guy that could just pull it out of his bag, and he was always prepared. Jim Chadwick was the pure definition of a professional, and, the Boy Scouts say, always be prepared. Well, Jim Chadwick was above and beyond with that code. So many Jim Chadwick memories. Jim Chadwick, one of the things that stands out the most to me is that I remember a conversation we had sitting at a park bench. PTW was running like this barn, and we'd get dressed out by this park bench, and me and him were sitting there talking, and he was telling me, he said, "Kid, you always knew wrestling. You could tell me anything I wanted to know about wrestling. If I asked you who won a belt here and where they won it and any of the facts, you could give it to me, and you knew wrestling." He said, "But you did not know wrestling until just recently." And that meant so much to me to have a guy like Jim Chadwick tell me that I got it, that I understood it. And, that was just Jim Chadwick, and I really missed him. We did a big thing, the Jim Chadwick Memorial Battle Royal, that ATM won. And, it shocked everybody, and me and him went into a big feud right after that happened, and we're battling, tooth and nail over the Jim Chadwick trophy. And that was an extension of Jim. That was a way to keep people remembering Jim and talking about Jim, and that really was not just for the trophy, but for Jim Chadwick himself. And, we built to a huge street fight. My career was on the line. The trophy was on the line. And that night, I think that me and ATM really stepped it up, and we showed PTW what Jim meant to us. And we performed at the level that we thought that Jim Chadwick would expect from guys like us, that where he would want us to perform to, if that makes any sense.
Man, that was a sensational show. Just to see y'all, it's always good to perform and entertain the crowd, but when you get a chance to do a show like y'all plan to do this Sunday in honor of a brother that y'all know and love and travel all over Kentucky, and just either you was with him or you against him via character. It was just, you know what to expect for Jim Chadwick. He was going to put a smile on your face, or he was going to make you frown, regardless of what character he was, good guy or bad guy. He definitely...
Yeah, Jim Chadwick was the guy that would go out to that ring, and if he was out there with some guy that, Jim would go out there with a lot of guys, whether it was a huge big-name guy, whether it was, somebody from, WWE or TNA, regardless, he would even go out there with the guys that were kind of no-name guys, and probably that Jim was a bigger star than they was. And it was in those opportunities that you knew that even if you didn't care what was going on in that ring and what guys were in that ring, you were going to be entertained by Jim Chadwick. And if you weren't doing your job in that ring, Jim Chadwick was going to take the attention down there, and he was going to entertain those people, and he was going to give them their money's worth every time.
Well, I've been fortunate to see Jim in person, and I interviewed him before. He's a very cool guy, and just and again, kudos to Larry and Dale and the rest of PTW for doing this year after year, just to keep his legacy alive, just to remind people how much he meant, not just to primetime wrestling, but the Kentucky wrestling community in general, because he definitely left the mark.
Every year for Christmas, when we were working for the Mountain Wrestling Association, Jim would come out to the ring and he would do his own version of like the night before Christmas or the 12 days of Christmas, and he would always have a wrestling spin to it, and he would add all us guys to it, and it was always a highlight. He would dress like an elf or, a Santa's helper, and he didn't care to get ridiculous if it meant it was going to entertain somebody. He always wanted to put a smile on your face. And, Christmas just isn't the same without hearing Jim Chadwick go out there and do his night before Christmas or his 12 days of Christmas.
Man, I wish I would have had a chance to see that. That's very awesome, man. It's very, very good to for people like you all get into the holiday spirit, because some people may not understand Christmas or know what it's all about, but for Jim to put his own spin to it and to include people's names, that's just that genius mind. Some people have it, some people don't. And Jim Chadwick, without a shadow of a doubt, he had it for sure. Now, for you, Max, you have had quite the 2015. You've had matches with Larry. You've had matches with Wani. You've had matches with ATM and Stan Sierra and plethora of guys in the PTW roster. So for this coming Sunday, you find yourself in a mixed tag team match, and you are teaming up with a once foe and Luscious Lexie Green, going up against the reunited Pretty Boys, as I like to call them, Amazing Maria and Ravishing Ronnie Roberts. So for those who haven't been keeping up with this feud between you and Ronnie, and how that Lexie ended up being your tag team partner. So what happened was, I think about a month or two ago, Cynthia Ennia show, Wani and Lexie went at it, and they pretty much, that relationship fell apart. And now, ever since then, Lexie's trying to make Wani miserable or whatever. So this Sunday, you and Lexie are a team. And considering the differences you have with Lexie in the past, how are you feeling going into this match? And do you feel you can trust Lexie to be on the same page and walk away with this victory?
The thing is about Lexie Green is it's not a situation. It's a very unique match. It's kind of like an odd couple versus a, formative duo. The Pretty Boy team, whatever you want to call them, of Amazing Maria and Ronnie Roberts, they go way back. They've already got a chemistry. They've already got a gel. They've got a vibe. They've got their game plan together. And we're going to have to go in there, and we're going to have to, be on the same page at least. We don't have to like each other. We just have to go in with a common goal and be driven and ready. And if we do that, then I'd say we can go up against anybody. I mean, she's a Green. You know what the Greens have done in this business. You go back to, Donnie Green's dad. You go back to Bobby Green's dad. You go to the now Bobby and Donnie Green. Rooster Ronnie Green. I mean, the Green legacy, you got Tommy Green. I mean, there's so many Greens in the wrestling business, and that legacy, that has to go into the blood. It has to rub off on somebody like Lexie. And I think that she's been pushed to the point by Ronnie. You can only belittle somebody and make them think that everything they have is because of you to a certain extent, and then they're going to either back down and they're going to agree with you, or they're going to come out fighting. And I think that girl's ready to fight.
It definitely is going to be a interesting match for sure. And one thing about you, Max, you're definitely passionate when it comes to PTW. I read your lengthy posts all the time. And
they are very lengthy.
Very lengthy for sure, but it's all from the heart. And you truly believe that PTW brings the best product in Kentucky. And for example, even some notable names wants to be a part of PTW. So far, at least for the last couple of months, you guys booked the Man Beast Wino, ECW Original. You guys booked the American Wolf, Davey Richards, not once, but twice. And
yeah, it's a really interesting time right now for PTW because it's really getting hot. I think we're really showing that we have a different product and that we really want to do the business right. Anybody can go out and just have a wrestling show. I really feel like that we're doing everything right. We've got the guys that work the hardest. We've got the shows that are ran the best. And that's not just saying that because I'm a part of the shows. I truly believe that we're doing it the way it's supposed to be done. I think that the guys' work rate is great. I think that our fan base is phenomenal. I think that those fans really care about what's going on. I know the wrestlers go out there and they pour their heart and their soul into it. And it's one of those things to where we don't have to go out and say, hey, Abyss, do you want to come and wrestle at PTW? Hey, Rhino, do you want to come and wrestle at PTW? You got these guys that are actually calling us and they're saying, hey, we're hearing what PTW is doing. We're hearing that you've got guys like Max Sledd and Larry D going out there and tearing it up in the cage. You got guys like Ronnie Roberts, ATM, going out there proving that they're young and hungry. You got the Playboy Scott Hayes. You got Donnie Green. You've got some well-known people that are really turning their game up for PTW, and, the world's taking notice. You've got these guys that I know Davey Richards personally has said he loves to come to PTW. These guys, we put the videos out where Davey Richards talked about how he had went to just about every show in the state of Kentucky in one weekend. And the best time he had and the best show that he was a part of was Primetime Wrestling. And we don't have to ask these guys to say that type of stuff because they really believe it. They're not going to go out and they're not going to just say something because we want them to say it. They're saying it from the heart. We don't want to tell them what to say. We want them to convey what they truly felt. And, these guys want to be a part of the show, and it's just a really good time to be in the PTW locker room and to be a fan of Primetime Wrestling because there's a feel. I'm not sure if you were at the show, but, everybody was at the show where the lights went out, they came back on, and just out of nowhere, there's the Monster Abyss. The guy cut his teeth here in Kentucky. He was a huge part of the MWA as Prince Justice. And, he started in areas like this in the Northern Wrestling Federation, and he was just there. He just showed up because he wanted to be a part of Primetime Wrestling. He wanted to be a part of the Jim Chadwick Memorial Show, and that is why he was there. He went after Larry D. He said what he wanted. He wanted Larry D., and he wanted the Primetime Wrestling Heavyweight title. And that's another thing. I really feel like our championship right now is a championship that everybody wants. If you're not in this business to be the heavyweight champion, you're in the wrong business. And right now, everybody, from the Abyss to ATM to the former champion Stan Sierra to Max Sledd, I've said it 100 times. I want to be the next PTW heavyweight champion. And if you don't want to be the next PTW heavyweight champion, there's something wrong with you. You're in the wrong line of business.
I truly believe that, and I truly agree. It's just like any other athlete of any sport. Being good, being great is one thing, but to be a champion, that's something that no one can take away from you. And if you're not there to be part of a championship effort, then not just wrestling, but the sports world just ain't for everybody. You either want it or you don't.
You've got to want to be the best at everything that you do. And not everybody's going to be the champion. But if you don't work to that championship level, if you don't work like you're a champion, then you're never going to get to that championship opportunity. And I really believe that right now we have some of the best guys, the hungriest guys in the business, and everybody's working their way up. And that, you can go anywhere and be a champion. You can run a show and make yourself the champion. You can do anything you want. And if your belt doesn't mean anything, then it's pointless. It doesn't matter if you're a champion on a wrestling show that doesn't matter. You know, I tell guys all the time, it's not about the quantity of bookings you get. You can go on 100 wrestling shows that don't matter, or you can go on every wrestling show that does matter. You can go to the Northern Wrestling Federation and work for Roger Ruffin. You can go to PTW and work for Larry D. You can do any of that you want to do, but I really, truly believe that it's quality over quantity, and you work for the companies that matter, and you work for the championships that matter. And if you look at the PTW title, if you look at its history, I mean, Stan Sierra was the champion for over a year. I mean, you've got to work your way up to that title, and that title truly means something. It's not just changing hands all the time and everybody gets it. It's one of those things that you strive for and you work for, and when you get that championship and you get that opportunity, it truly means something. When you get this close to it and you don't accomplish it, you are just kicking yourself in the pants. You are wishing that you could just fight for one more opportunity at that belt. And when you are that champion, you're on top of the world. You are the best wrestler in the state of Kentucky today. If you ask me, the Northern Wrestling Federation is one of the greatest companies that I have seen anywhere in the world, and they are the best in the Northern Kentucky area. But when you come down here, there's a lot of companies. You can go to a lot of wrestling shows, but if you want quality and you want your money's worth, you go to Primetime Wrestling because that's where it's at.
I think I'm talking to the Ray Lewis of wrestling right now. Man, Mr. Everything, Mr. Motivating. Again, he's teaming up with Lexie Green to take on Ravishing Ronnie Roberts and Amazing Maria. Don't also forget ATM, as you mentioned. He's going up against Wildcat Chris Harris. He makes his PTW in-wing debut. And for all this is VIP. Check this out. VIP ticket holders. If you got your VIP tickets, get there. I think 5:30. Yeah, get there 5:30. You can meet Chris Harris and Abyss before everybody else. Get there early, 5:30 for VIP.
$10 is a deal. I tell you what, if you get in on that before Christmas, that's an amazing Christmas present. Anybody would be excited. The thing is that your dollar, you have to get stretched so far these days because you really can't afford anything. So that little bit that you have, that little bit that you can stretch for the entertainment value of, going out and, getting a hamburger or going and seeing a movie, outside of maybe going and seeing Star Wars tonight, early release, people are talking about that. The next best thing that you can do, to me, the best thing that you can do, best Christmas present on everyone's list, Primetime Wrestling. The tickets are on sale now, $10. Monster Abyss, Wildcat Chris Harris, huge card. It's going to be amazing this Sunday night, Georgetown, Kentucky, Georgetown Flea Market.
Absolutely. So you can go to Primetime Wrestling Facebook fan page for all the info. They are on the Georgetown Bingo Hall every other Sunday. They're going to be at Paris. And also going to be at Cynthiana as well. So just go like that page. They'll keep you posted on upcoming events. And I've heard an upcoming show in January 17th, I believe it is, the PTW Hall of Fame show. And
that's right, and the first inductee to this year's class of Hall of Fame will be announced this Sunday night, at the Jim Chadwick Memorial Show. It's it's always a big deal. I actually inducted the Lone Wolf Bobby Blade into the Primetime Wrestling Hall of Fame last year, and it was one of the biggest honors of my career. That and the fact that while I was sitting there, I had inducted Bobby Blade into the Hall of Fame, and my other, Kentucky legend tag team partner, Jeff Bickers, was in the ring. We had a great run as the Red Bull Mafia. That got over really well. People liked it. And for him to sit in the ring and after all he's done in his career, to look back and say that one of the best things he did in his entire career was, the Red Bull Mafia with me and that I was, one of his best partners, it really meant a lot to me. That's a night where we give back to the legends of this business. We give back to the people that helped make PTW. It's a night where we can all sit out there, and it doesn't matter if you're friends, if you're foes, you just give respect to the people that deserve it, and I can't wait. It's going to be a great class. I've heard a couple of the names, and I can't wait. This Sunday night you're going to find out the first inductee in this year's class of the PTW Hall of Fame. It's going to be great.
It is a jam-packed show, and it's all in honor of a great man, of a great entertainer in the Kentucky wrestling industry, Jim Chadwick Memorial Show, courtesy of Primetime Wrestling this Sunday. VIP ticket holders can get in at 5:30. Everyone else gets in at 6. Bell time is at 6:30. Go to Primetime Wrestling Facebook fan page and like their page for all the info for upcoming shows, also including the PTW Hall of Fame show on January the 17th. Well, Max, I've interviewed a plethora of PTW shows, and I've always wanted to interview you for quite some time. So I'm glad that we can finally get this interview going. Thank you for your time.
I'm glad, man. I hope to do many more.
Oh, we definitely, most definitely, for sure. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you. This Sunday, don't forget, this Sunday, we're going to have the big, I don't know how many guys are in it. I know it's a scramble match.
Yeah.
It's the first time, instead of doing the Jim Chadwick, Memorial Battle Royal this year, huge scramble match, that's going to be wild. You've got Emotep, you've got Chris Majors, I think Chucky Smooth. You'd have to look at the picture to see all the guys, but I can tell you that one's going to be wild. You've got Roger Ruffin, who's a legend in this business, taking on another legend in this business, Donnie Green. That's going to be a classic. Loser eats dog food. How long has it been since you have sat down and saw a loser eats dog food match? It's either going to be Donnie Green eating the dog food or Big Mama. And I think the people are just aching to see Big Mama on her hands and knees eating that dog food. You've got the big mixed tag. It's been brewing for a while. Me and Ronnie Roberts, we haven't seen eye to eye. He jumped me from behind, after I'd won the big cage match against Larry D. The very next week he jumps me from behind. He feels like I've took his fans. He feels like he's been ignored. He feels like his time is now. No, his time's up. It's my time. And after this is all said and done, you know that my goal is to become the next PTW heavyweight champion. But the first thing I've got to do is I got to get through this mixed tag with Ronnie Roberts. Me, Lexie Green, Ronnie Roberts, Amazing Maria. It's not going to want to be missed. You've got the Monster Abyss, TNA Superstar Monster Abyss, and the legendary Larry D for the greatest prize in Kentucky professional wrestling, and that's the PTW heavyweight title. The Monster Abyss has just won another independent championship. I couldn't tell you what the name of the company is, but he just won that championship. It is possible. Anything is possible in primetime wrestling. The Monster Abyss could walk out of there, not just a former MWA heavyweight champion, not just a former NWF heavyweight champion, former TNA heavyweight champion. He could walk out the primetime wrestling heavyweight champion. Larry D says, monsters come and go, but legends are forever. Larry D and the Monster Abyss. You've got the most up-and-coming superstar in wrestling today, in my opinion, the hungriest guy, the guy that wants it the most. ATM, he's been climbing the ladder. He's been trying to prove himself. He's been turning it up week after week. Well, what bigger test than to put Austin Tyler Morris against the Wildcat Chris Harris? Chris Harris has done all the same accolades that the Abyss has. He's a former MWA champion, a former Northern Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion. He has been to the WWE. He's been a multiple-time TNA tag team champion. If ATM can pull this one off, he proves that he is not the future. He is the present. Who knows what's going to happen in that one? It is a huge card of professional wrestling action, and you are not doing yourself any justice if you're not sitting there ringside Sunday night in the Georgetown Bingo Hall, right there in that flea market, to see primetime wrestling action. And if I was you, don't miss out. Get your VIP tickets now before they sell out, and they will sell out. Jim Chadwick Memorial Show, we all do it in the memory of Jim Chadwick, and we do it for each and every one of you fans, because without you fans, none of this matters. You all make this possible. We don't make $1 million at this. We do this for the passion and the love, and we do it for a company that does it right, in a business that we all love, that we all came up in, that we all want to succeed in, and we strive to do it to the best of our ability. And primetime wrestling is the best in the state of Kentucky, and this Sunday night we prove it, and we prove it to you. Come out. Don't take my word for it. There's lots of guys that can hype it up. I can get real excited and talk about it on the telephone, but I don't want you to take my word for it. Come out and experience the difference for yourself.
Oh, I definitely will, for sure. Everyone go check it out. Thank you for your time, Max. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Thank you
thank
for
you,
your
brother.
passion.
I love it. I could sit there and talk about primetime wrestling all night long.
Hey, we'll have more to come, in future interviews for sure. Continued success. Good luck in your match this Sunday. I will see you this Sunday, and thank you for your time, man.
Hey, thank you, man. Well, you know what? We show them this Sunday, primetime wrestling. You're not anything unless you're everything. Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me.
All right, everyone take care. That's going to conclude Triple Threat Wrestling Radio for the year 2015. Look forward to many more things to come in 2016. That is Mr. Everything Matt Sledd. I am the award-nominating Kenny Cummings signing off. You all have a good, happy holidays and a happy new year. Peace out, everyone.